They were really a client kingdom of Arabs that at the same time that Rome was coming to the east and controlling parts of it, they had territory that went from Damascus all the way down to northern Saudi Arabia to what is now called Al-Ula. Well, their capital is Petra in the southern part of Jordan. They were really a client kingdom of Arabs that at the same time that Rome was coming to the east and controlling parts of it, they had territory that went from Damascus all the way down to northern Saudi Arabia to what is now called Al-Ula, ancient Hegra. Many use call the term Medan Saleh. So they were very extensive in terms of their spread based on their wealth and their activities with trade. And so Petra as their center city, maybe there was about 20,000 people who lived there. They had their tombs cut into the fantastic cliffs. And we luckily have a line of kings and queens that we can talk about. Unfortunately, in Petra, they documented very little by writing, and that's a whole lecture on itself. I can happily send to you a lecture I gave just on this subject, and I would be happy to share it with anybody who wants it. So I would say that, and I actually recently here in the city met a friend of my younger brother's who basically never heard of the Nabateans. And it's like, I mean, I forgot that people never heard of the Nabateans because of course it's been the fabric of my life for 50 years. Yeah. So I now do try to qualify who they are when I say, oh, and you must go to Petra because it's the capital of the Nabateans and has amazing things to see.
So let me add a little more meat to the bones. What did they, if they didn't write, do we know what they spoke?
Well, it's actually, the language is Nabatean, and they did write. And down in, what's so amazing about Hegra in Al-Ula is that there on their tombs, they would have fantastic descriptions in Nabatean, basically saying, this is the tomb of so-and-so. I'm a lawyer. I built this for my daughter and my granddaughters. And if you touch it, you'll be damned to hell. There are many things along those lines. Unfortunately, in Petra, they're like little inscriptions praising a god or my name, but they're not on their tomb walls, except for like 5 instances within the whole 800 tombs of Petra. So it was very limited writing, and we don't know why. I have different theories, but that's another talk as well.
And just going over the geography, because you said it quite quickly, it's basically on the Khat al-Hijaz, or is it other ways?
Well, basically there's something in Jordan called the King's Highway. So you come down, it also was sort of incense routes, because when they came from Saudi Arabia or Yemen with their incense, they would get to Petra and then they would transship it over to Gaza. Gaza was incredibly important at the time. It was really a major city and spectacularly wealthy. And so it continued to be in Byzantine times, and the beautiful churches there as well. So transshipped, and then would be transshipped to Egypt and the rest of the Mediterranean world. So it was a hub in terms of trade, but it also was a center in terms of religion and things like that.
And what years are we talking about?
Basically, I always say the heyday is from the 2nd century BCE to like 106 CE is when the Romans, quote unquote, took over. But of course, the Nabateans stayed there. They just, there was a Roman government, just changed the government and you could worship and stuff like that. But even in Byzantine times, we know from these papyri found in the Petra Church that they're often honoring sort of Nabatean forefathers' names. So they stayed around, they didn't leave.